that I don't forget to do it later. And hello, Aisha, welcome. And remember, if anybody wants to say anything, make sure that you unmute yourself, because normally at the beginning, your microphone will be turned off, but you can turn it on and off by clicking the little red button in the corner of your picture. And in the middle of my screen, I don't know where he is on your screen, but you can see Leigh. Can you give us a wave, Mr. Leigh Wolmarans? And he's going to be sharing some amazing ideas that I'm really looking forward to, and tell us about the incredible work that he's been doing. So, but before he does that, I thought that we would start off with a couple of games. Being as I am well known for liking to play games, I thought we could start with one. And we're going to start with a game that I've played on Zoom before with some of you, and it's called 10 Strikes.
Oh, yes.
Now, if you're not familiar with the sort of double meaning of that word in English, a strike is kind of like a point against you, okay? So, for example, if you were in the classroom and somebody was being naughty, you might say to them, 3 strikes and you're out, okay? So if they do 3 things wrong, they would be out, all right? Now, this is called 10 strikes because hopefully you have 10 fingers. So what I would like you to do is to hold up your fingers, and we're going to go around the screen. I'm going to call out people's names, and what I want you to do is to say something that is true about you, okay? And it can be anything. It can be something silly, something funny, something important, whatever you like. Just something about you. And if anybody else has the same thing that is true about them, they have to remove 1 finger, okay? And the winner at the end is the person who is different to everybody else because they have the most fingers remaining, okay? So I'm going to start off, and I'm going to say that I can easily stand on my head. So if you can easily stand on your head, then you can remove a finger, okay? All right, well, nobody did. Josie, over to you. Something true for you.
I hate running.
Oh, so if that's true for you, can you remove a finger? Okay.
Do I remove one too?
No, you don't have to, Joe.
I don't have to.
Jenny.
I like peanut butter.
Yeah, that's true for me. Leigh.
I'm addicted to Netflix.
What?
No.
No.
Netflix.
No. Eleanor. Oh.
Can't hear you.
We can't hear
Just
you.
unmute.
You like to drink tea, is that right?
I'm currently enjoying a cup of tea out of a teacup, which I always have to have at 4 o'clock. I'm addicted.
Okay, I like tea. Love tea.
That's not true for me, so I'm going to keep the same number of fingers. Natty, you're next.
I can sing.
Okay. Yeah, I think I can sing as well.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd call it singing, but I can make a noise.
Linda.
I am an only child.
Okay, I'm an only child. Okay, I'm not. So, Aisha.
Hi everyone. I'm a sports person.
Sports.
No, I'm not.
I'm not.
Okay. I don't know whether you call me sports person. Julie and Andrea, I'm not sure if you can hear us. We just have their pictures at the moment.
Yes, hi.
Oh, hi, Andrea. Hi, at the moment we can't see you on your video. So if you want us to see you, you'll need to switch your little camera icon on. And the same for Julie as well. So Andrea, would you like to tell us something that is true for you?
Oh, okay.
I love chocolate.
Mm.
Definitely, that's
I think
true.
all of us.
Okay,
That's a mean one. Everybody
another
likes
fingers
chocolate.
left. We're going to go round again in the same order. So, oh, hang on, we've got somebody else joining us. Surah, hi. I hope your laptop will last for the meeting, Surah. But if not, don't worry because we are recording. All right. So I'm going to give you a chance to catch up because you'll see what this game is. Each person has to say something that is true about themselves. And if somebody else says something that is also true for you, you have to remove a finger. So you start off with 10 fingers in the air, which you can do. You're very lucky, you've got 10 because we've been playing for a while. So I am vegetarian. Okay. Josie.
Okay. I love cats.
Jenny.
Like koalas.
You,
Okay.
You like koalas?
She likes koala bears, you know,
Me
from
too.
Australia. Leigh.
I love to travel.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Eleanor.
um, oh, you can hear me, can't you?
Yeah.
Yes. I once broke a tap dancing record.
Wow.
Oh,
Can't
no.
say that's true. No.
That's amazing.
Over to Natty.
Wish it was true.
I'm hardworking. I'm a hardworking person.
Yeah. Okay. Linda.
I love to read.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Aisha.
I love painting.
Okay. I don't.
Really got to there.
Surah, something that is true about you. Oh, we can't hear you need to switch let me see if I can, or you can switch your microphone
I
on.
love dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, down to one.
And Andrea, have you got another one for us?
I am a collector of children's books.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Oh, no. I'm out.
You're
What
out.
did you say,
Okay.
sorry?
Well,
I
that's
didn't hear.
good because the two people who are leading the workshop, one is out and one's only got 2 fingers left. So the winner might be Surah, but then she kind of had a stroke of luck from coming in late. So well done, everybody. And I'm going to hand over to Leigh because he has a lot to go through today, a lot of really interesting material. And I'll just say that I met Leigh earlier on this year. I've never met him in real life. I only know him from this wonderful online world, as I know all of you as well, apart from 1 or 2 of you that I've met. So over to Leigh. Thank you very much.
Great. Guys, just a couple of things about the way we're going to work. You're either new to this world or you've been on this world a while. I've been on this world a while. So it's totally up to you. You can mute your sound if you want. If you mute your sound, then we're almost in a bubble. So you can't hear much going on. You'll only hear me. So for some of you, muting the sound will just make it really clear. It's up to you if you switch your cameras on or your cameras off. You've got lives to live at the same time. So that is totally up to you. What we're going to do is the way I'm going to work is I'm going to show you visuals as well. So even though I talk, you're going to visually see what I'm talking through because sometimes internet connections come and go. So I always use visuals at the same time. There'll always be a stopping point where we can talk. I want you to challenge, please. I want you to ask any questions that you have, even if they're not in the topic that we're currently talking about. Any questions you have about anything I say, just put them on the chat. Because when we close down the Zoom, we keep all the chat. The chat saves as a document. So if you've got any questions, put them there, and then I will take those questions and I'll do everything in my power to answer those questions on the next session that we see. Is that all right for everyone?
Yeah.
So instead of just saying yes, could you just show me a thumbs up? Now you can if you want. There is a thumbs up on your reaction button, which looks a bit like this. So if you go to your reaction button, there's a little thumbs up there. Reactions are great. It allows you, when you're working with a group of young people, to get a very quick response. So it gives you an idea. Especially if some of them, their internet's down or they can't switch on their camera or so on and so forth. So just a quick. And then also, if at any point, if I say something that you agree with, you can applaud as well. There's a little applaud button, and you can use the chat. So just as far as that goes, just throw stuff into the chat at any point. Yep, is that all good? So give me a thumbs up if you're happy with all that. Fab, great. So I'm just going to share my screen, and I'm just going to open up my PowerPoint. Now, for some of you, you guys do a lot of this all the time. Obviously, once you've got your PowerPoint, you guys can all see that. David, if you can't see anything, please, you're just going to be the person that says, I can't see that. Is that all right? Yeah, cool. Brilliant. So this is what you told us. So David and I looked at some of the information you sent through, and these are the things that you collectively told us that you would like to look at, because everything that we do start with you. What do you need from us? So, you want to look at how do you direct online? How do you direct socially distanced? Two amazing questions. How do you continue to rehearse? Yeah, the planning for rehearsal time and how much time you devote. How long do you work on a piece? How do you put it all together? That's a really good question. How can I create nearness? I don't know whoever came up with the word nearness. It's such a beautiful word, right? How do you create nearness when working online? Who was that? So it's just fab. We'll find out in a bit. But absolutely love it. Nearness, gorgeous. And then how do I get them to take risks online? How do you work online? Just a simple thing. How do you actually work online? Can you run a hybrid session? This was a really good question. Those that are in the studio and those that are online. Now we do, and I will talk to you. I've got three nights with you to talk to you about some of the stuff that we're doing. And that's the other thing. Everything I talk to you about over the next 2 days, we're doing at the moment. And anything that we're not doing, I can signpost you to people that are doing it. And then, does it work online? That's a really good question, actually. Does it work online? Can you create? So with those questions in mind, I just think it would be worth just giving you a bit of a background, a fairly quick background, so that you know what we do and where we come from. My name's obviously Leigh. I was born in Zimbabwe. I spent a long time in South Africa. I came over to London. I've worked in education for 25 years. I've been a head teacher for 19 of those years. I've worked in London. I've worked in Northampton. I tend to work in schools in high areas of deprivation with lots of barriers to learning. And all three of the schools that I've worked in, we've run a very creative curriculum. With drama, music, dance, and physical education being priority. 3 years ago, I stepped out of my role and I became the CEO and the artistic director of Silhouette Youth Theatre, which is just an incredible place. And just to give you an idea what Silhouette Youth Theatre is, I need to start with some of the people I work with. So I work with the gentleman over there that you see by the keyboard. His name is John Bowman. He is our musical director. His album currently is in the top 5 in the charts in this country. He writes jazz. He goes around the world and he performs. He is the most amazing musician I've ever seen, but he is dedicated to young people. He does some work in Madagascar, he does some work in Uganda, and he runs a charity. I also get to work with a lovely lady that you see that looks like a cat, because she was in Cats. So Sam Bidoff, who is just an amazing practitioner. She was in Cats, she was in Starlight Express in the West End, and then she does some work, or she's my right-hand lady. We work together closely, so she works on all the dance that we do. There's myself there. I've been doing drama for as long as I know it. As a teacher, as a deputy head, as a head teacher, I created short films in London, and I think that it changes lives. So I can talk about my background till the cows come home, but most importantly of all is those group of young people. Those group of young people make up Silhouette Youth Theatre, and everything we do for those young people, especially in this time. They are priority, they are number one, they are the center of our everything. We are there to help and help them and serve them and take them to where the heights that they can get to. By the way, just to let you know, Silhouette Youth Theatre is based in one of the lowest social deprivation areas in the country. It has social services involvement a lot. I know because I used to be head of a school that's 10, not even 10, probably two minutes away from where we are. And we're also based in the middle of a shopping center, but I'll tell you a bit more about that in a second. So we do a lot of work. We've been working, these are some pictures of some of the work that we do. When I was at Leigh Primary School, which was my last school, every teacher got trained in drama. We did outdoor productions, indoor productions. We did everything. We pushed every boundary. Every young person in our school did an hour of drama every week. Every young person in our school did an hour of dance every week and an hour of music as well. It was part of our curriculum. We had our own dance studio and we had our own recording studio as well.
Wow.
So yeah, it was big. It was big. And by the way, this is in an area, the school was in special measures. For some of you who might not know this, it was failing. And it was the 5th head in 5 years when we walked into that school, and we transformed it through the performing arts. And then we started saying to ourselves, what was happening to our young people when they left primary? They were going into secondary school and they were getting lost, absolutely lost in a high school. So we started this little thing on a Saturday called Leigh Performing Arts Academy for young people in our area who were getting up to a lot of mischief. They were involved in a lot of problems, and we just opened it up on a Saturday. We opened our school, we made it affordable and accessible for all, and we started this little ragtag group of 30 children joined us. And then we started working with the Royal Shakespeare Company. I'm very honored to, we were an associate school. I work with them quite a bit. A lot of my friends work there, and these guys started working on Shakespeare. A lot of people thought they couldn't because we put all these barriers to young people all the time, but there are no barriers to young people. And we started doing things like training with them, developing directors, developing backstage practitioners. We're very lucky that some of our young people acted in the main production of Romeo and Juliet on the main stage when the RSC was open. And I've done some work in China. I've done some work in Uganda. And I'm very lucky that I've been able to do this work with young people in drama. So things were going really well, really well. Actually, we were doing some incredible performances. We were performing at the Royal Shakespeare Company. We were doing touring performances. We were doing, we live by the motto that you set up in 10, take down in 10, perform anywhere at any time. So we were doing some really, really, really good stuff. We were performing stuff that no one else would even try. We had 2 studios. We were based in the middle of the shopping center, so our young people could access it. We are affordable, very affordable. Actually, most times we pay for our young people. And we were running 13 sessions a week, from music to dance to songwriting to musical theater, and everything was going so well. And then this happened.
Yes.
And the world immeasurably changed, right? And you really had 2 choices: change and see what you could do, or step back from the game. But we've never stepped back from anything. It's not actually, our young people deserve us to step forward. Someone said take risks. Our young people only take risks if we take risks. It's that simple. So what we did is that I've put the slide up because a lot of people talk about barriers to learning, and a lot of people talk about things that get in the way. I just call them hurdles. All these hurdles presented themselves because we can jump over hurdles, right? If anyone says to me there's things that you cannot do online or you cannot do in the studio, it makes me more passionate to prove that you can. Because when you've got young people that are passionate about what to do, they will solve the problems for you, right? So I call them hurdles. So all these hurdles presented themselves. We were sitting there mid-March, everything closed down. We had to close down the whole place. We were in tears, sitting there just actually closing the door, thinking that's 150 young people, right, that come to us every week in a community where we are the center of their positivity. Right, and I could talk about the impact we make to our community, because actually theatre is about community. Fundamentally, you need to have an impact on your community, because that's what theatre is about. Performing arts is about. So now I'm gonna stop there, and I'm gonna ask you the question, which is, what do you think the hurdles are, right? And you're facing them at the moment, right? So what do you think the hurdles? I'm just going to quickly come off and stop sharing here. What do you think the current hurdles are? And we can either do this, we could go into breakout rooms now. So David could send us into breakout rooms, put us in twos, could randomly choose which breakout room we go to, could decide which breakout room we go to. There's another lovely thing that's just been put in place with Zoom, where you can actually click your picture, and I can move you around, so I can put you in different places on my screen if I wanted to. So there's all these lovely tools that you can start playing around with to get people talking. But let's start off just let's just start off with, unmute yourself and just tell me what you think the hurdles are. What hurdles do you have when you've got this and you close down? Linda, do you want to give me a hurdle there?
Well, I think currently what we're experiencing in Canada is what's called Zoom fatigue, because we've gone back to educating our students online. There's this combination of virtual schools and live schools. And so you've got kids that are spending 4 or 6 hours in front of the screen. Do they want to come back for more screen time?
Mm-hmm.
Linda, I literally, by the way, if I keep turning to the side, it's because I write stuff down, just to remind. Fatigue, absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Linda, for that. If I go, Surya, do you want to unmute yourself and then just
distraction in the Zoom class, because it's especially for my students. I teach grade 2s and 4s, and when they're in their own personal space, and I can't go and stop them from doing something stupid. So they can. Yeah.
I'll call that behavior management. Behavior management online. Yeah, tell me about it. Natty, do you want to give me a possible hurdle? If you just unmute yourself, or you can say no. You have the freedom to go no.
I'm just thinking. I don't have this kind of behavior, because I have a particular group that they choose to come to my class, and it's not from school. It's just on a theater, and it's especially drama in English. So if they do it, they really want to do it. That's the thing. So they don't have. I am not dealing now with stuff of behavior. Last year perhaps, but it was we didn't have coronavirus situation. I'm just thinking. So if you
no, that's fine. No, it's fine.
But I kept on thinking about behavior, so I was comparing my class, but it's a different situation.
Natty, if you want to add anything that comes to mind, just put it in the chat. Just click on the chat and type it in. Jenny, do you want to give me a possible hurdle?
Maybe people that don't have internet that can't access Zoom.
Good one. And it just comes as Koyal Theatre, which I love the name. Could you go over your name again? Just unmute yourself.
Hello, sorry. Yes. I feel it's really about having to compensate for that most precious connection that you have with a human being, which is the unspoken. It's the energy which is between two people in the same space, which is such a huge part of drama.
I think you bang on. I think you bang on. The energy, the space, the air that we breathe, the same air as the actor. We're in the space, we're emotionally, we're in it, aren't we? We're immersed. That one of the hardest things, by the way. So you are actually giving one of the hardest things to try and recreate on Zoom. If, by the way, if it's possible. I think the key thing we need to know is what is not possible. And we need to be honest with what is not possible instead of trying to make it possible, because it's a fool's errand. Right, yeah. Josie.
Yes.
Have you any?
I can't, to be honest, I can't really think of any, because I like it, Natty, my group of students at the moment, they want to be there. They've canvassed each other and said, can you, Miss Josie's doing this, because they're all ex-students except for one. She's doing this online, do you want to come? And so they all want to come. So they all want to be there. So I don't really have that problem. And I also think actually the closeness and the nearness is it's not impossible to create. I think if you you can do certain games and get people closer to each other, but it's also, I don't know, if people want to be there, that closeness is already there. I don't know how to explain that, but yeah.
I think that's fair. Aisha?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So, I second Linda. So I'm from Canada as well. So, and I teach homeschoolers, and I'm a homeschooling mom, and I take personality development classes and, storytelling and history. So I try to incorporate drama and drama activities. But the only thing I feel is like, when you are in person, you have like a time limit, but here it takes like the time goes beyond, like you need so much time to explain things and, get together everyone. And trying to do that one single activity, it takes like more time than required, because you have to bring in everyone and then explain and, get things together. That's the only like struggle kind of like I'm facing right now. So
I agree with that, actually. Yeah.
I'll come back to that. Because something that we do is we flip that learning. So, you're talking about fatigue. The 45 minutes or the 50 minutes I spend with my young people, I don't have to do that, because I give them something before they even get to me. But I'll explain, yeah. So that my 45 minutes with them is absolutely paramount. Anything else? Let me just have a quick look on the chats. Okay. Oh, blended learning. Yeah. By the way, we're back in the studio. We've been back in the studio 4 weeks. I'll talk to you about that. Right. So I've got experience of doing this for 6 months online, but actually the last four we're into our 5th week back in the studio. Online connections. Just ignore my dog, Gizmo. Gizmo will bark no matter what I say to him. Yeah. Natty. People stopped coming to the course because they didn't see themselves doing drama. Right. David, can you just take off 1 second? I'm just going to quickly go and stop the dog. Give us a second. Gizmo.
Oh, David, we cannot hear you. You have to unmute, I think so.
Yes.
Thank you, Natty. Could you tell us quickly about how you use WhatsApp? That's quite interesting.
Yeah. What it happened to us is that I have a drama in English course. As I live in Argentina, we have classes in Spanish, and I delivered a class of drama in English. And when all this pandemic situation started and we were on quarantine, we had to stop delivering classes. and we went on doing online. So many people said that they didn't prefer on going on this online situation because they didn't feel it was viable. I don't know how to say it. So anyway, we have a kind of WhatsApp group with all of them, and they sometimes go and come back from the course, but they still stay on the WhatsApp group. You know, perhaps we have 10 students, but the WhatsApp group, they are 20, more or less. And they see all the time what we are doing, and we share all the time. Perhaps what I do is I record sometimes with my cell phone. You know, they are like practicing or doing any exercise, and I am recording with my cell phone. So then I send the video on the WhatsApp group and I share it. And these people, the people that are not participating now online, they watch what we are doing and they share it with us. And many of them that said that they didn't see themselves working online on drama, then as watching these sharing ideas and the videos of the exercises that we did, they told me that they decided to come back to the course again, and they are trying now the online course, and they said that they felt comfortable with it. It is kind of strange at the beginning and with all this situation, but and it was also for me, and I think it would have been for all of you, but they feel comfortable.
I like that. I like
this idea of sharing WhatsApp. Sorry?
Yeah, I like the way that you have used two different technologies there and intermeshed them to kind of create motivation for those other students. It's really heartening to hear that.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for putting up with Gizmo. He's now lying next to me. I'm going to go through all the hurdles that you probably haven't thought about. Like one thing, online safety, right? So this might be the really boring stuff, and you might go, let me get to the theater. Let me make stuff. Okay, just let me. I've learned more than I ever thought I'd know. And by the way, I'm technically, the one thing I'm good at is I'm fairly techy. It's probably because I spent most of my life playing computer games. Never underestimate the power of playing computer games. But yeah, so let me just quickly go through. So the hurdles for us were things that sort of drive us. Number one, staying true to our moral compass. We have a definite moral compass. We know exactly why we're there and what we do in our youth theatre. Staying true to that moral compass online, key thing for us. For us, it was about remaining creatively connected, but doing it in a way that sticks with what we believe in, right? The other thing for us is that we had to learn, unlearn, and relearn, and we had to do it quickly, because for us, we closed down in March, and I said we needed to be online within 7 days, because of the young people that we have. They need to see us. We serve a very difficult community, and these young people, they need to be with us. So we gave ourselves a timeline. Actually, we gave ourselves a timeline of 5 days, right? To learn, unlearn, and relearn. And it took a lot. So for us, one of our key hurdles, or the thing that we talked about, number one, the first thing we talked about was our young people. It was the first thing we talked about. So we talked about, how do you remain creatively connected, right? In a totally different world. You know, how do you support their well-being? How do you engage them? How do you keep them focused? How do you maintain relationships? How do you keep them positive? How do you keep them coming back? These are big questions to answer, right? And we had a lot of discussion about these things. You know, well-being of young people, paramount. You know, as a youth theatre and as a school, we deal with well-being more than most people understand. And then we had to say, okay, well, one of the other big hurdles is the tools. What tools are we going to use, right? So, you know, how do you make it accessible? How do you make it inclusive? You know, how do you make it affordable so that someone doesn't have to go and buy all the tech? Because our families don't have that. How do you make it simple? Like really, really simple, get down to the absolute core. How do you communicate? Communicate, communicate, absolutely crucial. What doesn't work? What's not even worth spending your time on? Just what doesn't work online. And then what skills and knowledge do you have to make this happen? And if you don't have the people that have the skills and knowledge to work with these tools, you need to find people that do. Because our young people have those skills and knowledge, right? And we were very lucky. We had people that did. And then the other thing is the space. You know, we went from 2 lovely studios that we had spent years building up to create a space. And I forgot the lady's name. She said it so eloquently earlier about the space between the actor and the audience. You know, that
Eleanor.
Space is so, Eleanor, it's sacrosanct. It's a beautiful space, and you've got to create that online, right? So how do you keep it safe and secure? Number one, how do you keep it safe and secure? How do those young people know that they are safe in the space that you create, right? Never underestimate that. How do you replicate your expectations? You talked about behavior. How do you replicate your expectations that you have in your area online, right? So that it doesn't just become pandemonium. How do you maintain respect? How do you keep it focused? How do you keep that space focused all the time? But also, how do you make it flexible? How do you make the space flexible so that it meets the needs of the young people? And then, yet again, number one priority, how does it meet the needs of the young people? How does the space meet their needs, not mine?
Leigh?
Yeah, David?
Yeah, just to come in here, because I forgot to say it earlier on, Leigh's got some incredible stuff to pass on to us. And don't worry about writing everything down, because I'm going to share with you the PowerPoint afterwards. So yeah, just to let you know, you'll have access to that afterwards. Okay, thanks, Leigh. Thanks.
Cool. And then the work. Now, a lot of people would think, well, the work comes first, hey, the work that you're going to create. It doesn't. It doesn't, because you can have, you know, you can have all this work that you want to do online, but if you haven't got the tools and you don't put the young people at the heart of it and you don't create a good space, the work is not going to be what you want it to be, right? You have to lay that bedrock. And a lot of people rush online. I've seen so many people do this. They rush online and they start their work. You know, the first one is, we're going into work, we're going to do this, we're going to rehearse online. And we didn't do that. We didn't do that at all. So for me, it's, you know, how do you put them in control? How do you keep it relevant and engaging? It must have a reason. Someone said, well, they won't come online. And fatigue. I have to have a reason to turn on my computer and come to your session. That means you need to engage me and you need to make it relevant. Otherwise, when I'm having a really bad day, and a lot of our young people have really bad days, why would I jump online? How do you adapt it so it works? Adaptation, learn, relearn. How do you remain flexible? It's so difficult. It's so difficult. It's almost like herding cats sometimes, your mentality. How do you challenge? How do you challenge online? How do you get work that is challenging? How do you rehearse? Someone told me a couple of months ago it's impossible to rehearse online. And then I showed them our 20 young people rehearsing Midsummer Night's Dream for an hour and a half in breakout rooms, working on the script that I had sent them beforehand, looking at the videos that I had sent them on our website, right? So looking at a shared experience of us watching stuff together and talking about it, right? So the hurdle's there. It's easy to say, well, it can't be done. That's really easy to say, because we don't have a choice. We have to get our young people to be creatively connected, because creativity is the thing that's going to push them through and get them through the other side of this. So it's more than theater. And then finally, how do you dance, sing, and act online? Yeah. How do you do musical theater online? You know, welcome to the jungle, really. So I'm just going to quickly come off there, and I'm just going to say, you know, anything that I said, anything that you went, actually, looking at it now, that's one of my hurdles. And feel free to just unmute yourself and go, actually, when you said that, I thought, so, or you can just go, none of those are our problem, which is fine. See, now this is what happens when you ask a group of young people to talk. So this is what you do. David,
yeah.
Have you got breakout rooms? So what David's going to do is he's going to put you into random breakout rooms, right? And you are going to discuss with the people in your breakout room, and you're going to come back with two things that actually that's my concern as well.
So,
Some of the challenges that you're facing.
As I said, Linda, that I homeschool and I teach the homeschooling group as well. So I'm a storyteller and I'm a personality development coach. And at the same time, I indulge with history and making dramas based on historical events. So the initial stage, that, as you said, Linda, actually, you know, it was just like the amount of time the kids were online, right? And that's the concern for like majority of parents. So my kids are between ages 9 to 11. And so I teach kids ages 9 to 13, right? So the amount of time they were spending for other classes, and then again, you know, I come up with a drama class and a personality development class and a history class. So that was the thing. So how do I make it like, you know, more like kind of physical activity going on in the class? So that is one challenge I was dealing with. Then I started to incorporate some games and some moves that they could do, that they can present themselves, they can get up from the place, you know, they can have some physical movements. Like in person, there are like so many things that can be done, right? But that's the challenge, that how can you make them move and then at the same time stay focused, so they do not leave focus. If you're talking about youth older than like 13, 14, still you can make them focus and make them do what they want to do. But when it comes to kids ages 9 to 11, so it's like, that's the only challenge I face, that how can I make them do something amazing.
So don't forget, you have to unmute yourself when you come back.
So just to say, that's breakout rooms. That gives you small times to talk. We use breakout rooms all the time. Be careful using breakout rooms, though. Be careful. Don't just throw children into breakout rooms if you haven't gone over the rules that define the breakout rooms, right? So I worked with a group that in the first week, they just allowed all their children to go into breakout rooms. They allowed all their children on the chat function, and they couldn't understand why they had pandemonium. because you give them strong guidance like you would in your theatre or your school. You wouldn't just chuck them in a room and close the door and go, get on with it. Never, would you? I mean, I've taught in schools where that would have been like, I would have had to have phoned the police to come, you know, because it would have just kicked off. So what I'm going to do is, you know, there's loads coming out. I'm going to use what Eleanor said. Eleanor said, there's just so much. There's just so much to think about. Exactly. There is so much to think about. So that lovely thing about how do you eat an elephant bit by bit. You take the first bit and you eat that, and then you come to the next bit and you eat that, right? So we were just inundated, absolutely inundated with, oh my gosh, what do we do? And what we then did is we went, okay, number one, we can just not do it. Loads of theatres I know, by the way, just didn't do it. No, we're not going to do it. A lot of schools I know, not going to do it. We'll engage with this world when we need to. We did not have that luxury. And that's a good thing. Because that means you've got to be creative, and you've got to be creative quick. So what we did is, as we've always done, we just jumped in, right? And a lot of people think, oh, well, you just go in and start making theatre. Oh my gosh, you don't. Actually, the one thing you don't do is you don't make theatre to begin with, because you've got to get all the stuff right. So let me just show you. And Eleanor, you're going to get copies, by the way, of all this. Literally everything I have is yours, okay? And for the next 3 days and beyond, any question you have, I don't think there's anything that you could ask me that I haven't been doing since March, good and bad. And Eleanor's using the clap function. Boom, boom, look at that. I love it. I love it. Right, okay, so let's go to share screen and have a look. So, by the way, that's one of my favorite actors. That little boy is called Ashton. Ashton, who just take a picture of that boy. He will do great things. In year 6, he played Romeo and did the full script of the play. He's that good. Gorgeous actor. So anyway, so the hurdles come up, and you say to yourself, okay, I've got to eat this elephant. I've got to eat this elephant, and I've got to try my best. And the interesting thing is, when it comes to solutions, right, I had to go, what is the first solution I need to find? And we sat down as a group of adults. And by the way, there's 15 of our young people that form our operational board. So young people are central to everything that we do. And we're central to my school as well. So we had to find solutions. And the thing is, a lot of people think they know where to start. But actually, I've got two quotes. One, Ken Robinson, who sadly passed away, who probably wrote one of the most influential books I've ever read, The Element, which defined my life. The gardener does not make a plant grow. The job of a gardener is to create optimal conditions. We create optimal conditions. So I went, okay, what is the optimal condition that I can get my young people? What is my optimal condition? The next one, Steve Jobs. It's been one of my mantras, focus and simplicity. Simple can be harder than complex. So we needed to make it simple, really simple, so that everyone could go on this journey, right? We could start simple and become more difficult, but we had to start simple, right? And then John Cleese. If you want creative workers, give them enough time to play. So we knew that when we came online, we had to play, we had to laugh, we had to smile, we had to reconnect in a different space. It was like we just closed our studio and we're opening a new studio. The first thing you do is you get them in to just have a good time, which, by the way, is work, but it's not work. We'll get onto that in a second. So then, another one of my favorite quotes is, great learning happens in groups. Collaboration is the stuff of growth. So I was thinking, how do I collaborate? How do I get my young people to collaborate? And I don't just mean getting online and having a laugh. I mean like true collaboration. How do you get them to collaborate? That's like really hard. So what we did then is the concept came, where do you start? And we started probably in a bizarre place where people would go, well, we started with the tools. Because actually, if you don't have the tools, everything, all your lovely ideas just won't work. So we then spent probably the first 3 days, we spent 3 days just investigating everything that was out there, right? So we looked at, okay, is it Zoom or Teams? I went for Zoom because I need to see them. I need to see them online. Teams was just clunky for me. So we played around with Zoom. We did a couple of Zoom meetings between ourselves. We made mistakes together and we realized that that was going to be what we wanted to do. We wanted to do Zoom, right? We also we said, well, if we need to create a collaboration space for young people to collaborate, that we can give them documents and so on and so forth to work on, well, what have we got? And I'd done some work with Office 365. Most of our young people are using Office 365 in their school. So we just went, okay, we're going to use that then. And then I had to redesign our whole website, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to upload any videos of anything that we did, any work that we did, so that they could access it anywhere on their phones, on their tablets. So what we did is we created our website that had a members area, right? So we had to redesign our website. You've talked about WhatsApp group. We set up WhatsApp groups, by the way, protected, all of these, protected WhatsApp group, Facebooks, emails to communicate. We had to build our communication structure that was safe and secure. Then Twitter to share the work that we're doing, because a lot of people, we need to help other people, because the only way we're going to do this is if we work in collaboration. So we use Twitter, and then I got hold of MailChimp just because I wanted to send regular communication. So those were the tools that we spent 3 days going, what are the best tools for us, right? Other people hadn't even started thinking of this, which was, March, but actually we went, let's find the tools first, right? And then we said, okay, we got to make it free to every child. Zoom is free. Office 365, we've got users, so it's free. Because if our moral compass is accessible, right, and affordable, we've got to be accessible and affordable online, right? We can't start charging people, which other people did, by the way, I just want to say. So what we did is I went and found funding so that we could buy user licenses for Zoom, Office 365, and our website. We opened up a YouTube account, but it was private. No one had access to it unless you had the password and unless you had Silhouette. We closed everything down. And then what we also did, and Eleanor's absolutely right, we started working on our timings, dates, our sessions, and our calendar, so that everyone knew where they were and where they needed to be and how to get online and when our sessions were going to run. And then we made all that calendar and those dates accessible to everyone, so that at any point, if they wanted to click on the calendar, they knew what was happening. So we started with the tools, right? And by the way, there's many other tools. I'm not advocating only those, but you might want to start off with the tools first. And then, my question is, have you guys got any of those? Currently, are you using those? I know I've heard you guys saying that you're using Zoom, which is great. I've heard, so I'll tell you what, just give me a thumbs up reaction with your reactions if you're using Zoom. Just give me a thumbs up. Love it, love it, love it. Andrea's there, fab. Could you give me a thumbs up reaction if any of you are using Office 365? Oh, okay. Give me a thumbs up if you've got a website or a place to store documents. So if I needed a script, have you got somewhere I can go and get it online so that you don't have to get me a paper copy? Brilliant. Have you got YouTube or something similar? Is it protected or is it open source and anyone can watch your videos?
It's opened.
Open, yeah.
It's all closed down. Okay, it's all open. Okay, it's all private. Okay, it's private. And have you got a clear policy on the use of all the stuff that you've just told me? So you've got a clear internet use policy, you've got a child protection policy, you've got an access policy, and those are shared with every member, every user, every adult, and every teacher, every adult and every child, because that communication strategy you need to have, because if it goes wrong, that's one of the first things they'll ask. And also having a very clear way of you filming something and getting it to them. So when you finish the end of a session, do you record Zoom and then send them the Zooms, so that if for instance they wake up that morning and they have an absolute meltdown, but they don't want to miss your session, they can just jump onto a Zoom and watch it. So all these things, all these tools that you all doing thumbs up for are absolutely brilliant. But you can imagine this happened in March. None of this was available in March, right? And we were going, oh my gosh, right? And we've moved on. You can see how far Zoom's moved on. And the reason, by the way, that you can now move tiles is because if you're in a rehearsal and you want to put people in groups on your screen, you could never put them into groups. And if someone dropped out and came back in, all the groups would move. So rehearsing-wise, it was a nightmare. So they've actually changed. So you can now click and move your tile, which is just amazing when you're rehearsing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly share this. So then the second thing we looked at was the space, the space. And by the way, when we looked at the space, the online space, child protection was number one. Internet safety was number one. That every parent and young person signed up to these, right? We had our safety and security settings and updates were really strict in the beginning. We didn't have chat. We didn't have breakout rooms, right? I closed all that down right from the beginning. And we trained every member of staff that was working. This is, by the way, this is before we even went online. We did all this before we even went online. And we also had clear rules and disciplines because it is a studio, right? And we all know, I don't have to preach about the danger of online safety. And it's a very real concern, right? So we had a members area that only they could access. No one else can get into the members area. Everything had to be uploaded to me. I was the gatekeeper. If it didn't go through me, it wasn't up there. No one had, we closed it down so there were restrictions and it was just going through me. We password protected every space that we had. And every session, even now, every online session we do, the first 2 minutes is to go over every rule and responsibility of online learning. And we were also, if someone continuously did not adhere to those, I would phone their parents or have a discussion with them, because I need my young people to be in a space that's safe and secure. And then, man, once you can get into breakout rooms, that's where the magic happens. Breakout rooms is where the magic, once you can really, really work breakout rooms and your young people really understand how to use breakout rooms, that's where things just, that's the closest I've come to being back in the studio, is breakout rooms. And then, my question to you, have you got those in place? But actually, a lot of you were going, yes, 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 which is brilliant. We didn't in March. We had to recreate all that. We had to really, we had child protection policies and we had online safety policies, but not to the extent that you're using online now. And then you get the young people online. So for me, it was about, you've got to get them feeling safe in the space. You've got to explain the rules and how we will work. You've got to give them a say and a voice. And this is another one. It was interesting. We did a feedback session after 2 months. And we said, what is the number? And by the way, we have a very high rate of people returning. We said to them, what is the number one thing that got you through lockdown? And they said, the freedom to be there or not. The freedom that if I was having an absolute rough day, I could just not come online because I wasn't ready to. And then I would usually email them or phone them and say, are you all right? So those first 4 or 5 weeks was just making sure that they were all right, really. And then tech support for everyone. Your young people will train you on more things than you can ever imagine. We alleviated the stress. Honestly, for the first 4 weeks, we just laughed and had fun and played games and more games. And they used to bring games. We used to bring games. And it was just hilarious, right? But we also had time to just talk and chat. Every week we had an hour where anyone could join, no matter your age, and we would just chat. What are you watching at the moment? What are you listening to? It was just an open chat session. And we did that for a good, we didn't even dive into any work, by the way. And then we showed them it could be done. So my dance teacher started doing dance online. We started doing some musical theater online. And we had this constant feedback loop. Is it working? Is it working? No? Okay, how do I change it? You know, what's working, what's not working, what do we do to make it better? They were the center of every decision we made. We were also asking them what they wanted online. You know, they wanted online well-being. We got a lady to work with them every week on well-being, right? And well-being is key. We were contacting families, we were speaking to young people, we were communicating. We had some people that we wouldn't see. If we didn't see them for 2 weeks, I would pick up the phone and I'd just phone the parents and say, is everything all right? You know, and sometimes they'd go, can we just have a one-to-one session? Because they're really, really finding this online world difficult. And then the parents and the child would come online, I would go online, and we would actually work through, because they didn't know how to click on this, they didn't know how to do this, and they felt silly. So you never underestimate them feeling inadequate, because they think everyone else can do it, and they can't. And then we just got parents online. We had regular online parent sessions where parents came online and told us how things were going, what did they like, what could we improve. Can I just say, out of anything I've just said about the way that we work with young people, did anything surprise you about anything I've said? Or you're all going, actually, we've been through that?
I don't have such a big group, but it doesn't surprise me really. I worked in a school in London, and it was also like yours, in a very deprived area, and it was hard to keep kids focused. But I didn't do what you're doing. We didn't do online stuff at all in those days. But I can understand why you did what you did, and I think that's necessary. Yeah.
And I would also say, the fact that we spent 4 weeks just playing. And by the way, I don't know if you guys are on it, but there's a National Association of Youth Theatre WhatsApp group. They are amazing. They are absolutely amazing. If you can get onto that, they share their ideas, they share their games. They are really, really good. And someone will go, a National Association of Youth Theatres.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
They've got a WhatsApp group. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. You can throw anything at them, and they'll just go, I've got this. A couple of weeks ago, I was just doing my head in. I wanted a game to do something, and within 5 minutes, someone said, have you tried this? It's just really good. Really good. It's a really good WhatsApp group to belong to. So let me quickly just finish this off then. And then we came down to the work that we were creating, because like you guys, we were mid-rehearsal for Midsummer Night's Dream. We were mid-rehearsal for a re-imaging of Lord of the Flies. We were mid-rehearsal for our National Theatre Connections program when we closed. I mean, it was like we were gearing up for the summer term performances. And there was this thing about, how do we do that now? How do we do that? So what we did is we just did games, communication, and discussion to begin with, right? We just recreated our studio online. We got ideas. I said form there, sorry, bad spelling, from others, and we shared practice. That NAYT group is great. David, David sent me some of his books. David and I have talked about online. I've got some practitioners. I spoke to the Royal Shakespeare Company. And once they are comfortable and they feel safe and they're attending regularly, then you build your clan. And by the way, some of them won't come online at all, right? And that hurts. And those people that weren't online, I would phone every week and just go, are you all right? Because actually it's not about, so some of them were main parts in our play, and I used to just phone them and go, are you all right? And they'd be like, fine, but I can't do online. And I'd go, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. You know, they don't need more pressure. So we built our clan, and then we just sent scripts. We did them all online. We said, okay, guys, you know, I can't get paper scripts to you, but I've put them all online. They're in PDF form or they're in Word form. So when we rehearse, could you just bring your scripts? So some of them had their scripts on their phones. Some of them went and printed them off. Some of the parents said, look, we need printed copies. So I made printed copies and I sent them to their addresses because that's what they needed to engage with us. And then we just record. You've got to record as much as you can and share. Record and share, record and share, record and share. It's an ongoing. If you go to our members area and our website, there is so much recorded stuff there. It's unbelievable, right? And you share links with videos of content. And this is, by the way, what you do before they come in. So if there's so let's say you're doing this beautiful scene with Titania and Oberon. I would go and get YouTube clips that showed that scene, and I'd just put those links in a shared area, and I'd say, watch it before you come online. That stuff do before you get to me, so that the 45 minutes, an hour is maximum, hour and a half. I've pushed it to an hour and a half. But actually, that, you know, go and look at them, and then when you come, then you've done the pre-prep. And then video them, share them in protected space. So we had like two or three Titanias doing a piece together.
Yes.
So we'd put them in the breakout room. They would rehearse the piece in the breakout room. I would then go into the breakout room and just video the breakout room. And then I'd take the videoed piece of Titania. I would put that on our website. I would put it in our shared area, protected, so that my Oberons could go and watch that. So you can do that. And then you've got to constantly ask them what can be improved, and there is always a creative solution. So I'll show you, I'll hopefully get a chance to quickly show you the video in a second of some of the work we did.
So Leigh, when you say you recorded the breakout rooms, did you do that by doing a sort of video screenshot, or how did you do that?
Yeah, I can tell you that. So let me just stop the share. So for you, you're going to be, you've got to let them know that you're talking film. Okay, that's the fundamental thing, because they want to start acting like this, and then you've got to start. One of my things is I made short films. You've got to start teaching them that this space over here, the eyes into the camera, the moving away. It gives you an amazing opportunity to teach them film knowledge. You know, so someone coming up from the bottom of the camera, someone coming into shot, two shot. So you can start talking camera angles, which means that you can then show them some of the stuff that people are talking about, getting the spaceness, this nearness. We did this lovely comedy act where I put two of them into a breakout room, right? I then went into the breakout room and I went, okay, guys, I've sent you the script. It's, you know that lovely one, Who's on First Base? Do you know who's on first? Who's on first? Abbott and Costello? Oh, there we go. Andrea's good. Yeah, it's just one of my favorites, right? So I sent it to them and I said, guys, could you do this? So when I went into their breakout room, right, I said, okay, I've sent you the script, practice it, I'll be back in a second. So I went out the breakout room, I went around and saw if everyone else was okay, and I came back to them and I said, okay, we're going to record it. So what you do is you do this to your video so that no one can see your face, because you're not that important, right? And then what happens is you're in the breakout room and you can see their two faces. And all you then do is just hit record. You've got a record button. So you just hit record. And when they're finished, you close it down. You save it to your computer, by the way, unless you want to save it to the cloud. Totally up to you. But then you save it to your computer, right? And then what you do is at the end of the session, you say to them, guys, you didn't see Charlie and Dane's amazing piece on comedy, but I've just put it in the members area. So that means they were going to the members area and watching each other's stuff and actually commenting. That was great, Charlie, absolutely brilliant. So you were creating all the stuff, and and then the brilliant thing is, let's say you want to put a scene together and you want 2 actors and 2 actors. So what you do is you go and record everything in one breakout room, go back, record everything in another breakout room, and then all you do is use something simple like, I don't know, iMovie, right? And then you just cut them together. And then you just put it out there and you go, there you go. And then if you're lucky, you can get a nice ensemble piece and then cut it to a 2-shot and a 2-shot. Or you make a breakout room of only one person. Or you pin that person. So you have this ability to spotlight. Spotlight means I will take you. So let me show you. I'll take Jenny, and I'm going to spotlight Jenny for everyone.
Hi, Jenny.
So now Jenny is spotlit, right? She's priority number 1. I can remove that spotlight and go back to a normal gallery view. So you can spotlight people. So for instance, you can actually film. I'll show you some of the musical theatre stuff we did. So as they're all singing and dancing at home, like we're doing some work on Jesus Christ Superstar at the moment, we were just spotlighting people. And then you just video it. So you're editing on the go. And then you just show it back to them, and they're in bits. They think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. You know, and that's the way to do. Yeah, go, Josie.
Yeah, I just want to ask you, you're talking about the private sort of space. Is that on Facebook, or when you put your videos somewhere, where do you put them?
Okay. Now I've never thought Facebook's private. I think.
Oh no, I know. I'm just wondered where.
So you know what I do? I have created our website through. Right.
Okay.
So what am I using? I'm using WordPress.
Yeah, like.
And in a part of WordPress, it says members area. You have to click on members area.
Right.
It'll then say a password.
Right.
Only Silhouette know the password. Right. When you then go into the members area, there's certain parts of the members area that are also password protected.
Right.
And I will always ask permission. I will say to them, guys, I'll show you something in a second. I asked every one of them permission. Are you all right for us to put this on the main site? And if they went, yes, then I'll go, okay, are you all right for me to unpassword protect this and show other people what we're doing? And unless they were unanimous, I wouldn't do it.
Right.
I wouldn't do it because actually they're vulnerable. You know, we were in lockdown from March. We only went back in September. You know, they're vulnerable. You don't put stuff up there that's going to make them feel. So I'll give you an example, okay, and I'm going to try this. So someone said to me, this is just some snippets of some of the musical theatre stuff we did. It's snippets, right? By the way, other people have done some perfect, amazing productions, okay? We're not that. Actually, I just wanted my young people to be creatively connected. That's all I want, okay? So I'm going to show this to you, right? And I'm just going to show, these are young people from 5 years old, which are my favorite group, and they can't join unless their parents are sitting in the room, by the way, which means that sometimes their parents jump up and dance with them, which is just the best. And some of their brothers and sisters come to Silhouette, so they'll just join in. And it's gorgeous. It makes me go all mushy inside. Just to say, I'm South African at heart, so I get really excited. So. Apologies. I have to apologize for it a lot. So, David, just you tell me if you can see this, because what I'm going to do, the other thing you need to know is when you share a video on Zoom, you've got to share your sound, right, which is just a little clip, and you've also got to make it optimal. So I'm going to quickly share this. Here we go. So I'm going to share. And I'm going to share so that you can hear my computer sound. I'm going to make it optimal for a video clip. And please, David, you just tell me if you can see and hear this, please.
Yes. I can see you in your folder at the moment.
Yeah.
Can you see? Oh, let me just move this. Can you see this?
Not yet.
There's a whole lot of faces on screen.
No, we can't yet.
Okay, just give me 1 second. I'm just going to share that again. Right, and can you see this now?
Yes, we can see the faces now.
Okay, so I'm going to press play. And this is the other thing you've got to get used to, is mistakes happen. right, all the time. And what you do is you just go, well, right, okay, so I'm just going to play it and you're just going to see. Hopefully you can see it. Depends on your internet. That's the other thing. You need to be aware that, here we go.
It's astounding. Time is fleeting. Madness takes its toll. But listen closely.
Not for very much longer.
I've got to keep control.
So cute.
Jesus, I am overjoyed to meet you face to face. You've been getting quite a name all around the place. Healing cripples, raising from the dead. Yuck. And now I understand your God. At least that's what you've said. So, you are the Christ, you're the great Jesus Christ. Prove to me that you're divine. Change my water into wine. That's all you need do, and I'll know it's all true. Come on, King of the Jews.
Always the hurricanes blowing, always the population growing. Let's do the time over again. Let's do the time over again.
It's just a jump to the left. With your hands on your hips.
Jesus, you just won't believe the hit you made round here. You were all we talk about, the wonder of the year. Oh, what a pity if it's all a lie. Still, I'm sure that you can rock the cynics if you tried. So you are the Christ, you're the great Jesus Christ. Prove to me that you're no fool. Walk across my swimming pool. If you do that for me, then I'll let you go free. Come on, King of the Jews.
So that just gives you, I'll just get rid of that. That just gives you an idea of just our musical theatre work, and just having fun. And interesting enough, what they didn't know is that when we've come back to the youth theatre, we're doing this production.
Great.
They had no idea. But what we're doing is we're doing Jesus Christ Superstar in the middle of a shopping centre. So it's performed in the middle of a shopping centre and the audience are all around. We're actually closing the shopping centre off for the day. And it was because they turned around and went, we love this song. And I went, oh, you've never heard it? And they were like, no. And I went, okay, we'll try some other songs. And when they came back into the studio, the first thing they said is, are we doing Jesus Christ Superstar? So we've got 40 young people in the cast. We didn't have to try and change their minds. They just played around with it. They just had fun. And by the way, they also, I can show you videos where they're rehearsing Midsummer Night's Dream. I can show you videos where they're working on Cyrano de Bergerac, the National Theatre production. I can show you videos of them working on, Lord of the Flies, and really getting to grips with the text, right, and understanding. So, but we spent 4 weeks of them just getting comfortable. And once they were comfortable and they were enthused, you can take them to the world and back. So I'm just going to do our last little bit, and now you've got to do that lovely thing about learning what windows you have open and which windows need to be closed, and learning how to do it as quick as you can. I've got loads to tell you about, you know, what works for drama, what doesn't work for drama, you know, what works for musical theatre, what doesn't work for musical theatre. And I've shared the slides, you know, David can share the slides with you. So what I've got is when you get your slides, you will have all these, you know, drama sessions, what we learnt, you know, be able to, by the way, one thing, just a simple thing, make sure that you know how to share music and images. And if you can put stuff on a PowerPoint so they can read it, it means that the internet connection, if they can't hear you,
Yes,
you're still including them. Breakout rooms are absolutely key. So I've got some drama help there. You know, you can have a look at that. We always go what works, what needs to improve, questions to pose. It's just basic feedback loop, you know, stuff guys do all the time. I would say dance was the hardest. Dance was hard, right? And actually on every dance session, we used to, two of us. One of us would be doing all the music and the sound, and the other person, Sam, would be choreographing. And the other thing that really worked with dance is Sam filmed loads of the dance steps in her house, shared them on our area, and then people could watch them before they came in. That was key. The other thing is beware of delay. Delay is really, really hard work. By the way, there is a way around it. And I can talk to you about that. Keep it small and emotional. Space to dance is difficult, but that was hard. I'm not going to lie. The songwriting, because we do songwriting online. So I think we wrote about 25 songs during lockdown. And the way to do it, you know, if you're doing songwriting, that's probably a separate discussion to have with me. But there is a way to do songwriting, an amazing way. And you know, they were writing original songs during lockdown. And still continue. We've got our own. And then script writing was one of my favorites. They asked for script writing. They said, can we do some script writing? And I went, okay. And script writing is just perfect online. And we've kept that going. That's something that came from them. And musical theatre, you've just seen, you've got to upload stuff. You've got to film stuff. You've got to unpick narrative. You've got to rehearse, and then perform and video it so they feel like they've had an end performance, and then move on to the next one. Don't spend hours. You don't have the time. It's more just really getting them going. Some things we learned, right? You've got to have two people to run the sessions. You know, but it's actually part of our policy. You have to have two people on every online session. And then they started asking for things. Silhouette Speaks to, every week we would go and beg, borrow and steal industry professionals who would come online, and would have 50, 60 young people listening to industry professionals from Florida, from, you know, people that we knew that, you know, had directed this or done that. So it was called Silhouette Speaks to. That was great. We did that every 2 weeks, actually. Then we did the Silhouette Presents, which was once every 4 weeks. You could just come and just do stuff online. So you would say, I would like to sing a song, and then we would spotlight you, and you'd sing a song, and then you'd have 60 people clapping and cheering. We had this thing called Silhouette Chats About. So every week we'd go, this week Silhouette Chats About film, join us. This week Silhouette Chats About musicals, join us. Silhouette Parents, we had parent sessions. We actually had technology parent sessions to help them out. We had a Silhouette Quiz Night, which was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. And then we also had Silhouette Challenges. So every 2 weeks I'd set a new challenge. So I would say this week the Silhouette Challenge is, can you do Bottom's speech outside somewhere in your house? Record it, send it to me, and then we'll put it in the shared area. So we had challenges as well. And that's how, that's how we kept our young people, online and focused and rearing to go. And that's, by the way, just the first part of the story, because then obviously something something massive happened after that.
So, Leigh, I'm going to tell everybody that we are going to be winding up the meeting shortly. And as I mentioned, Leigh has so much to teach us and so many brilliant ideas and experiences. And I noticed as we were going through that people were writing individual questions in the chat. I don't think we'll have time to answer them all today, but what I'm going to do is make sure that Leigh gets a copy of the chat afterwards, so he can have a look at any particular questions that can be answered in the next session. But I'm going to hand back to him because I think he wants to finish up with a bit of a question and answer session, and also to talk to you about something that we would like you to do before the next meeting.
Let's start off with what I'd like you to do before the next meeting. The next time I see, I think is on Wednesday. I would like you to do this. I would like you to just go write a plan for the following. Okay, just a plan. Now, some of you are ahead on this. A simple thing. What do you want to do? So you might go, I want to do musical theatre. Brilliant. So what tools are you going to use to do the musical theatre then? Okay. How are you going to prepare your space so that it's ready for musical theatre? And then how are you going to involve your young people? Just simply 4 questions. So you might go, what do you want to do? I really want to rehearse a Shakespearean play. I really want to do Macbeth. Okay, so what tools are you going to use? I say tools that you're going to use. How are you going to prepare the space? So how they're going to work? Are they going to go into breakout rooms? What are they going to do for the first 2 or 3 weeks? And then how are you going to involve young people in that piece? Because engagement and relevance, they so that's just, that would be great if you could do that by Wednesday. Do it in any way, shape, or form you want to do, because then I'll get an idea of what you want to do. At the moment, it's very much been, this is what we did, but actually, you might go, I want to be able to do this, I want to be able to do that. And then the Facebook group is there. I'll be looking at that as well. And I'm sure I can, David, I don't know about my email. What are you gonna?
What's your email address?
Yeah, can I share it? Is that all right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, this is my email.
I've put in those questions into the chat box about preparing for creativity. So if you want, if you didn't know, you can highlight the text in the chat box and copy it and paste it into anything else that you want. So that's quite good. I've also, just while I'm briefly talking here, earlier on, I shared in the chat box a link to a page on the Drama Resource site. And that was in response to Leigh talking about the National Association for Youth Theatre. So I've got links to their stuff and to some other organisations that have been really helpful during the pandemic. And so Leigh, what I'll do is I'll just very briefly show them on the screen here, what I'm talking about on the website. So I've got a page called Teaching Drama with Social Distancing, Important Links. So you'll be able to have a look at that page. I'll type the link in again, and that's a really good resource just for finding out some useful links.
Any quick questions? Can I just say, please be massively honest. Okay, did you find this useful? Because this is the first one I've done of these. So if you didn't, just go no, and I won't take it personally. Okay, cool, right.
So yeah.
I'm just thinking you're all being really nice, so thank you very much.
No, no, we're not. We're not being nice.
Okay. because what I'm going to do very much on Wednesday is talk to you about what happened when we went back in the studio. Do you know, now we're back in the studio, some things that we've learned, but also I want to show you. So Wednesday and Friday is going to be, okay, let's do something together. So here's a piece of text. Let me show you how you do breakout rooms. Right? Because sometimes no one really goes over what you do and how you do it. Or someone goes, you know, so almost bring things to me and go, how do I do that, Leigh? You know, I've got this lovely piece of music. I want to put some really nice movement with it, but I want to combine some beautiful spoken word. How do I do that? Or I've videoed them on screen, but because of the lag, it looks really bad. I can show you a really simple thing to just change the lag.
Yeah. So what we could do is gather some of the questions that people have through Facebook, or you can email Leigh, or you can obviously email myself, and we'll feed all those back into the next session. And Leigh, I had, for example, I noticed in the chat there was some straightforward but really important questions, because we watched you do something which was, I think, spotlighting a video. So somebody had the question about what's the difference between pinning a video and spotlighting a video. Yeah. And also, just in case anybody doesn't know what I'm going on about, if you click the 3 dots that are in the top right-hand corner of your picture, you'll see all sorts of options there. So now I'm going to hand back to Leigh to see if he can give us a quick answer to any of that.
Got you.
Okay, so let me just unpin something quickly. Remove pin. Think of it like this: spotlighting is for all of you. Okay, so I'm going to go to Josie. When I click on Josie's screen, or I don't have to click on. When I hover on her screen, there is 3 buttons there that goes, which might not be the same for you because we are hosts. But there's a thing there that goes spotlight for everyone. The moment I spotlight for everyone, Josie will come up, right? So now, no matter who talks, Josie will always be the focus point. Because if you have a usual gallery view, every time someone talks, they take the spotlight. And in the top left-hand corner, there's this little thing that says remove spotlight. So I just remove spotlight. I go to the top right-hand corner and I'm back in gallery, right? Pinning is pinning something that you want to see. Okay, so let's say I need an interpreter, or I need a sign language interpreter, right? If I pin someone in the group, when I look at my video, there will always be that person interpreting in the corner. That's the difference between pinning and spotlighting. But so they've got a new little...
Pinning is personal to you. It's just what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I, as a host, can pin as well.
Right.
I can pin stuff as well. The other thing is they've just, and I'm just going to see if it works actually, but they've just added, David, you might need to update your Zoom.
Okay.
Because they've just added the ability to spotlight 2 people, which for dialogue is like amazing. Yeah. So I could spotlight Josie, I could spotlight Natty, put them together, and we all just watch them.
Yeah.
And no matter if we talk, so they've just done that. And the other thing that is being able to move the tiles around. Because when you play games, if you're playing the top screen against the bottom, right, or argument's sake, you're doing a performance where you want anyone that's playing Helena and Hermia down the left, you want, Lysander and Demetrius down the right, and you do some Conscience Alley stuff with the people in the middle, you can start doing that now. And the thing is, when I move your...
Sorry, Leigh, can I just ask, does that mean so everybody is looking at all of the squares in the same place?
So let's try this. So Eleanor, if you go to the top right-hand corner and you go on to gallery view, are you all on gallery view at the moment? Yeah. Okay, so watch. You tell me, because this only came out 2 days ago, right? Actually, it's probably, so if I'm going to move Natty to top right, I'm going to move David to top left, right? Eleanor's now in the middle, and I'm going to move, let's see, I'm going to move Natty to the middle there. I'm going to move Jenny to the top. So at the moment, you should have David, Natty, and Jenny on the top. Can you see that?
No.
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 Okay.
So maybe I need to update my Zoom, like you said.
Yeah. So what happens is when I do that, right, I can have you all where I want you.
Ah.
And so
how do you do that? Do you literally drag, or what do you do?
So, yeah, so when you go onto a tile,
Yeah.
click on it, it becomes a gripped hand, and then
Yeah.
just move it.
Okay, so I can't do that. So I think that's because I need to update my Zoom.
Or maybe it is just for the host to do it and record it, kind of.
Yeah, but what you can do though, because I saw it today, is that everyone then sees that.
Oh, okay.
So what I'll do, see, this is why it's flexible. Eh? We're learning so quickly. So that only came out. That must have come out yesterday because I watched it yesterday. So already I've got a rehearsal. I'm doing some work tomorrow night on script writing. I'm going to try it tomorrow night because I'm just going to log on. I'm going to say to all my guinea pigs, I'm going to go, guys, guess what? We're going to try something, guinea pig time. And they go, yay. And then we try it and they go, that's rubbish. And I go, okay, we won't do that again then.
Right.
They did move, did they?
No,
they
but
didn't. But Eleanor, I'm going to update my Zoom after this meeting, and I think
But that raises another question, though. Doesn't just going back to tools?
Yeah,
you've got to have kids who can afford the system. Because I've only just, I've been working with. I've got another system. It doesn't. You can't get the latest Zoom on it. It's 12 years old. I couldn't afford to buy a new one until today.
So Zoom is free. If you don't go further than 45 minutes. So free Zoom is 45 minutes, then it cuts off. And you can have all the tools and everything you need, but it'll cut you off after 45 minutes. And what you can do, Eleanor, the workaround is this. It cuts you off, right? After 45 minutes, you then send a new link and you get back on for another 45.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say if you're going to do a lot of online stuff, they've got some. I think the one I'm on is £11 a month, and I get unlimited, and I get updates. But so they're doing good deals.
Yeah.
But every kid needs it. Everybody in your
no.
Needs.
No.
Okay.
Only you need it as host. If you've got it as host, right, then everyone has it. If you have multiple hosts, that's when you have to pay more. But what I tend to do is when we started off, I would start the host of every meeting. So let's say this was me. I would start off as host, then I'd make David host, and I'd leave.
Oh, right, okay.
So we only use one account. So I can log in, make someone host, go, guys, have a good session. I'll see you in an hour. And I could go.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way that you don't have to have multiple hosts. No one tells you this stuff though, Eleanor. No one tells you this stuff. They just expect you to go into this world and just know it, And it's because I've been doing it for 6 months, trying to find every way that so free. The reason we use Zoom free is I've had children before sitting on their phones in their gardens because that's the only Wi-Fi they can get, and they've still been able to come on Zoom, but it doesn't work with Teams. So that's why we stuck to Zoom.
Yeah. Okay, Leigh.
So those questions.
I'm going to wind it up now because
I'll talk forever.
Go on, but I don't want the recording to be too long for other people to watch. But it's great, and we'll make sure that if you have any other burning questions, let's field them on Wednesday. And can we give a thumbs up or a clap to Leigh for a wonderful session? Thank you, Leigh. It's brilliant. And Leigh, you and I will have a chat before Wednesday, I'm sure. Everybody else, it's been great to see you. So thanks again, and see you on Wednesday. But if you haven't joined the Facebook group, join the Facebook group, and we can also chat there. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very
Bye,
much.
everybody.